Midget toss, what the fuck is that? And you basically get at the top of the stairs and you chuck the little guy down the stairs.
I'm questioning your intelligence for asking midget toss. What the hell is that?
That's correct.
It's all summed up in the title.
Okay, so welcome to episode 0 of The Jew and the Gentile. It's really a show about nothing. I'm Jeff Vexler, Richard Carnahan.
Richard Carnahan.
Friend of, 40 years. And we put this show together with producer Bob the Whippet of Whippet Productions, which I really appreciate.
Thanks, Bob.
You appreciate the productions or the whippet?
Both, equally.
Mm-hmm. Equally, yeah. Okay. And we have a show about nothing. We absolutely do not know what we're going to do. This is Richard's first time to ever put on a headset.
Yeah.
How's that feel?
It feels pretty good. I thought I was going to hate it because I don't like the way my voice sounds.
Nobody likes the way your voice sounds.
Especially my wife. But I'm feeling better. Someone once told me, they said, when you're recorded, you sound like a 16-year-old Jewish girl that smokes too much.
Wow. Who told you that? Wow, that's specific.
I mean.
Very specific.
Very. But
Yeah.
it does work to have the cans on, doesn't it?
It does.
It does.
It makes you feel sort of special.
You know what I'm feeling good about is the last time I brought somebody on air for their first time, my good buddy Brian Sethny, I said, NBA expert Brian Sethny. Here he is, folks. And Brian went, and could not get a word out.
Oh, man.
Literally could not get a word out. Okay. And anyway, yeah, that was awkward. So it's good that you can actually speak into a mic. Hey, we do have a lot of actual, show structure that we worked on at Chris Madrid's for the last 45 minutes. You guys are going to love it. So in studio with me is a former radio co-host friend of mine, Marcus Valdespino, which, Marcus, I love seeing you again. How long's it been since you were on either radio or pod?
I filled in a few times pre-COVID at ESPN Radio.
Nice.
Rob Thompson.
Yep.
And so COVID kind of messed me up there, and they started going to their own remote locations. They started doing from home, and I was like, okay. And so, yeah, so that kind of messed me up. But I would fill in once in a while when Rob needed a co-host.
Well, you've always known your shit from the first day we met when I was 22 and you were 25 or something.
Yeah, I mean, I'm 4 years older than you. So I was 27 maybe.
Yeah. We were kids in the radio business that basically got put on by the same producer, or same program director, Andrew Ashwood, the gorilla, rest in peace. Yeah. And we became fast friends, and we've kept up phone calls here or there all throughout years. It's been almost 20 now. And it's really cool to be live back in person with you, getting to do this in studio, and to be starting a podcast again because it feels like it's been way too fucking long since I've had a microphone. This is exciting as shit. Today, my word of the day is unmitigated disaster.
How did you do in math in college?
I was good at math. Why?
No, you weren't.
How come?
Word of the day, 2 words.
That's the joke, Bob. My word of the day is unmitigated disaster.
But Jeff, aren't people supposed to laugh at a joke?
It's a fair point. It's a very fair point.
If I don't point out the joke, we may have some listeners who go, "He's an idiot."
Well, that's fine. They should know ahead of time because most of our listeners, let's be frank, they know me really well. They're like relatives. So, but here unmitigated disaster. We're going to spend at least 2 hours today talking about the overturning of Roe v. Wade.
Wow. Let me get my notes.
Wow. And boom goes the dynamite.
Okay.
Wait, where are my sound pads?
Never mind. My show prep is going in the trash. Okay, you guys came here for something else?
Oh, wow. I think so.
Okay, good. Marcus, the NBA draft was last night, bro. It's my favorite day of the year.
It is.
It's like basketball players' Christmas.
Yes.
And I walked away from last night as a Spurs fan absolutely fucking livid. And I can only call it an unmitigated disaster. You and I were texting a little bit last night with a bunch of our Spurs fans, and I still am scratching my head trying to figure out what was the draft strategy for Brian Wright last night. And do you feel like it was an unmitigated disaster?
What's the plan?
Yeah.
What are we doing? Are we just what are the pieces? Who? It doesn't seem like there's been a plan in place for the last 3 years, unless they're talking about, they have like 30 million in cap room. But who comes to the Spurs anyway? As a free agent, we trade our way, to try to get good players. I wanted Jalen Duren. I knew. Listen,
I did too.
Well, he wasn't my number one choice, but by the time you get to 9, Jalen Duren starts to look pretty good.
Same.
Okay. They passed on him, so we know. It's like my son tells me, we're going to know how the Spurs feel when it gets to 9, and there's 3 of our choices there and which one they take. We're going to know which direction they want to go in. Jeremy Shohan is something that the Spurs don't have.
True.
Okay, in terms of he's a 6'9" jumping jack.
Yeah.
He's one of the guys that he's kind of a jack of all trades.
Master of none.
Master of none.
He's 48% free throw shooter. I shoot free throws because I got bad shoulders, underhanded, and I'm pretty sure I can do 48%.
Absolutely. Yeah, he's
on an 8 foot. Anyway.
He's a bad shooter.
And he
Flat.
can't tell.
Him and Jakob Poeltl ought to have a free throw shooting contest, make everybody's head spin and blow up. You'd rather talk about Roe versus Wade in that regard if you want to watch them shoot free throws. But real quick, Jeremy is a player. He wouldn't have been my choice or anything. He probably would have been maybe 4th on pick number 9. Like I'd have gone down the list a little.
Yeah.
He is a guy though that can guard all 5 positions. They said the stat last night: 25% of the people he's guarding in college.
That's all they shoot.
That's all they shoot is 25%.
25%. Yeah.
He's a guy that can block the shot, grab it off the board. He has some handles. He reminds me of a young Dennis Rodman. I don't mean Dennis Rodman had a couple of different careers. I don't mean the Dennis Rodman with the Chicago Bulls where he was a one-trick pony, a specialist, and just grabbed rebounds.
Talking about early Detroit
I'm
guy.
talking about early Detroit Rodman. But Jeremy's a little taller and he's got better handles. And thank God because the game's evolved, right? So he's a player the Spurs don't have, and so I'm kind of excited to see how he is, kind of like a Robert Williams clone.
Sure.
I
don't think he has bounce like Robert Williams.
You don't?
No,
Okay.
and I don't think he can rim protect. Period. Like certainly not the way Robert Williams does, because that guy blocks shots at the rim like left and right. Like I like Sohan. Do not get me wrong. I don't think he sucks. I don't think it was a lost pick. It's just not the pop pick that I think we needed to make. I mean, we don't have a superstar, Richard.
Right.
Like
We haven't had a superstar in 10, 15 years.
Yeah, it's
but
been a
that's
long
not who
time.
the Spurs are. See, to me, and I don't know basketball like you guys do, but I am puro San Antonio.
Yeah.
It's a very Spurs pick. The international flavor. He's an English Polishman that grew up in Oklahoma.
Yeah, I mean,
that's true.
We were talking about this over lunch. We don't have that many people of Polish descent.
You can tell Polak jokes all day and never get in trouble in San Antonio.
We're bringing another one in.
True. They don't fly in Chicago quite. But
No.
here you can do them all over.
They have no idea what a pole is.
They really don't.
So Bob says he
pole
met the
dancer.
quota. He met the quota.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just looking for the Spurs to make a bigger splash in this draft. When you come in with 3 first-round draft picks and a nice stash of young prospects, Keldon Johnson, Devin Vassell, Josh Primo, to say just a few, you got to be thinking about getting that superstar. Yes. The Spurs are devoid of that superstar and have been since Tim left. So the guy that was allegedly very much available at the number 4 pick from Sacramento was Jaden Ivey. I mean, look, the Sacramento knew he wasn't going to play there, so they didn't even draft him, and they drafted Keegan Murray kind of out of order. So you could have definitely made that deal with Sacramento for, let's just say, Keldon Johnson, the 9th pick, and the 20th pick.
I tell you what, you could have sent them first-round pick of 2025, the Bulls pick. I think they would have jumped on that.
They would have jumped for
I
that.
think they would have jumped on that.
And we could have had the guy who I think, Marcus, I don't want to put words in your mouth, you and I both believe Jaden Ivey's the best future star prospect in this draft.
Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna expand on your frustration, and I don't want to do that, but I'm gonna do it anyway.
Go for it.
The first 8 picks, right before the Spurs pick at 9. You could possibly see all-star.
Yeah.
Right. And everyone, even down to Sharp, who knows he's,
Yeah, sure.
Tracy McGrady and Kobe Bryant were like Sharp was the number 1 player,
Sure.
right? Okay. Spurs picked the first player at 9, Richard, that he's not going to be an all-star.
Never.
That's so you know. That was kind of frustrating.
It is.
Jalen Duren actually has a little bit more potential if he worked on his jump shot.
That dude could be Dwight Howard. He
could
looks
be.
just like Dwight
And
Howard did.
He's like a man child.
when he was 18.
Yeah.
Like he's going to be dunking on people's heads in 5 months.
Yes.
And we're going to go, why the hell didn't we get that guy? And why are we still stuck with Jakob Bertel at a huge contract? That's if we keep him. It's very frustrating to me. And here's something that I haven't seen anywhere. And I mentioned it to you last night, Marcus. This is 2 goddamn years in a row. The Spurs have drafted a 6th man with their lottery pick. I bet you that's never happened before. Both players didn't start for their college teams because Primo was a 6th man. And now again, Sochan only started 1 game at Baylor.
Yeah.
And it was because of COVID, basically.
Well, it still feels very Spurs like look at
It is Spursy.
the
It is
the
Spursy.
stars that they've drafted. You got the Admiral, and then we got Tim,
Yeah.
and that was like lightning striking.
Yes, and it was a no-brainer. But if you're going to get the next superstar, you have to be drafting for pop, like somebody who can explode and all of a sudden turn into a superstar, the way Kawhi Leonard did, which, by the way, I didn't see that coming, okay? Maybe nobody saw that coming.
I did.
You did.
I
Okay.
did. Now, what I didn't see coming was he's an MVP candidate.
Right.
But I did see some All-Star. I saw a couple of 3 or 4 time All-Star. I saw a little Dr. J there. Steve Fisher, his college coach, who coached
Yeah.
Weber,
Michigan,
Loy
yeah.
Vaught, Terry
Yeah.
Mills, said Kawhi Leonard at 6'7" was the best rebounder he ever coached.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, okay.
That's kind of a big deal.
That's kind of a big deal. And Kawhi Leonard at 6'7", averaged 10, 11 rebounds a game in college.
Okay, so let's put on those same kind of like Kawhi Leonard sort of goggles for Jeremy Sohan. And to me, I think his best comp, if things go well, is Sean Marion. Sean Marion was a very nice player. He could guard a lot of positions. He could get up and finish around the rim. He could protect the rim a little bit, but not a whole lot.
But you'd have to close your eyes when he shot the ball because it was so ugly.
Same thing with Jeremy Sohan.
Seriously?
Yes, and that is where I just say I don't get it. If Jalen Duren, Mr. 6'11", I kind of look like a young Dwight Howard, is sitting there, and you're not sure about the future of Jakob Bertel, and you know Zach Collins and his career are just, frankly, finished, and Jock Landale, he's all right, but you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you have to be looking for that big who has pop. The only way this last night's draft for the Spurs makes any damn sense at all is if they already have a deal in the works to get DeAndre Ayton. That's the only way it makes sense. And I'm not even telling you I want DeAndre Ayton, but if that is the plan, and that's kind of what you were getting at, Marcus, is just what's the damn plan, right? If the plan does involve DeAndre Ayton, okay, I don't love it, but it's a plan. And then the picks at 20 and 25, I was pretty sure after seeing all the guys that I was particularly interested in gone before we got to those numbers, I thought the Spurs would for sure trade out of that and maybe try to get into next year's draft, which is the famous double draft because it's going to have collegiates and high school players in it, and it's deep as it can get with Scoot Anderson and Victor Wembanyama. It's like this unbelievable draft year. I was sure they would trade out, and instead they took 2 6'4", 6'5", undersized guards, which just makes no goddamn sense to me.
You know, I'm with you. I like Malachi Branham.
I know you do. You
little
like
bit.
him more than me.
I like him. You know, let's
Is
hope he
the
doesn't
Ohio
turn out.
State guy?
Yeah, he's the Ohio State guy. He's possibly what I like about him is his efficiency. He is possibly in the NBA a 50, 40, 90 guy.
He could be.
He almost did that in college, except his free throws were 83%. But his efficiency, his shooting, in his last 15 games, he was outrageous. I mean, he was really good. I mean, he really helped EJ Liddell more than I thought he could.
Here's my counter to that. He is a mid-range jump shooting guard. If you're 6'4" and you're shooting mid-range pull-up jump shots, you better be elevating the way Devin Booker, Kobe Bryant, who was bigger, but the way he elevated, you need to be getting off the ground. You need to have bounce. Lonnie Walker, one of the reasons he could get off mid-range jumpers is he could bounce.
Right.
I don't see Malachi really bouncing, and it's 6'4", and you're shooting over 6'6", 6'7" opposition. Man, those mid-range pull-ups get really, really hard. He doesn't get to the rim that great. And frankly, his size would lead you to believe maybe he's going to be a point guard, not a shooting guard. It worries me.
Yeah.
And then you got Blake Wesley from Notre Dame, who I love the fact that he has some shake, because if there's one thing the Spurs don't have,
Someone that can create a shot.
exactly. And if you look over the recent history, Richie, of modern basketball, last 10 years or so, the teams that win are the teams where they are fielding 5 dudes at all time who can create their own shot. Toronto probably being the best example. Golden State is probably the worst example because they actually can put a couple of guys out there that don't create on their own because they have Curry and Klay Thompson to, take all the defense's attention. I'm just telling you, I don't want to watch a goddamn basketball team again that can't break anybody down off the dribble. And Blake Wesley kind of can, but he has a big problem finishing at the rim. I think he's 43% on layups inside the paint. That's not good. That's not Tony Parker.
Yeah, Malachi's around 65% finishing.
He's good at finishing.
I'll just disagree with you a little bit. I understand your frustration. But I've watched Malachi. He's ambidextrous. He goes to the
He dunks left.
He does dunk left, and he can
Our
dunk right.
listeners don't know what that means.
Amphibious?
Quadriplegic?
Like a frog.
There you go.
No, I have jealousies because I love the NBA like you do. I'm not just a Spurs fan, right? And Richie, we absorb like the entire league. We're dorks about this shit, okay? And I can never take a Spurs draft just in a vacuum on what we got. And I think that any reasonable fan who's knowledgeable can't accept it in a vacuum either. You always have to be looking at how did we do by comparison to the other teams. And as I watch Oklahoma City last night, just like what they're doing is unbelievable. They're playing three-dimensional chess.
But who's got where'd their guy come
Yeah,
from?
Sam Presti, he was our guy.
Right.
And
So they've
we
got an
likely-
architect, and we've got Michael Dell now.
That helps, I think.
I think it helps too, but I mean, are we going to stay in San Antonio even?
Oh God, can we not do that yet? Future show.
Okay.
Mark it down, but not right fucking now. I'm in too bad of a mood.
So I'd like to give up Brian Wright and a couple of future first rounders for Sam Preston. Can we do that deal tonight? We'll do that one.
Absolutely.
Can we get Becky Hammond back?
I'm fine with that. Just get rid of Brian Wright. No, Sam Presti's brilliant. We knew he was brilliant when he was here. Other teams that you thought were big winners last night, who jumps out?
Detroit was huge.
Jesus, they were good.
We can expand on that. Houston was huge. OKC was huge.
Memphis.
Memphis was nice. They made a couple of trades with the Timberwolves. Just Detroit getting Jalen Duren and getting Jaden Ivey.
That is insane.
That will be fun to watch with Cade Cunningham. Sadiq Bey can really shoot it. I mean, he's been.
They're 4 years away from being in a conference final.
Yeah, it's
with that kind of lineup.
6'8" with that jumper. And Ivy just running up and down the court with Cade Cunningham. Yeah. And then did they end up getting your guy, Gabriel Percy?
No, he went. They
went drafted
to
him,
Portland.
but they
Did they wind up getting their hands on him last night after I
somebody
fell
needs to
asleep?
look that up. I thought they did.
Gabriel Procida.
Yeah.
He was drafted by Portland last night at like 33 or 34, who I wanted the Spurs to get real bad because he's got a lot of Ginobili vibe. Did he wind up in Detroit too?
That would be absolutely outrageous. That would make the draft A to go to an A+ easily.
Yeah, number 36 to the Pistons.
Okay. Wait. To the Pistons. Gabriel Procida.
Yeah, Detroit Pistons draft Italian wing
Oh,
Gabriel
my
Procida.
God.
So now
Oh my God.
Thanks, Bob, for that information. Now you're looking at Jaden Ivey, Jalen Duren, and Gabriel Procida. I'm going to tell you right now, I watched a little bit of the highlights, and listen, I know you have to watch full games of players and all that, but if you're an NBA scout, you can watch a player for about a couple of minutes and say, okay, he's got something, right? And you can tell right away if you have a keen eye for it. That guy, he's going to need some help. He doesn't have it all. When I watched the video that you sent me on Gabriel Procida, if Cade Cunningham was sitting here right here in my face, I would tell him, I bet this guy will give you trouble one-on-one if you went outside right now to the basketball court at 6'7".
Yeah.
I would pay to watch Cade Cunningham versus Gabriel Procida in a game of one-on-one.
Hell yeah. And if you showed Cade Cunningham that video I sent you that Gabby Procida video, and he hadn't seen it for the first time, Cade would be like, "Damn,
Yeah, we're good.
damn, we
Wow,
got
those
this
are
dude
those are some really flappy small ears.
on
Gabriel?
Procida."
Procida.
Oh, I didn't inspect his ears. Maybe those were not part of the combine measurements. He was the fastest person at the combine length of floor, which is kind of amazing for a 6'7" white guy. Okay, and he can bounce.
Whitish.
Whitish because he's Italian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, shout out to my Italian brothers. It's okay to be racist to Italians now, but it wasn't 100 years ago.
That's right. That's
So-
right.
Yeah, you might get killed, right?
Somehow
They're
that's
never going to
changed.
find your body. You're in a building somewhere.
I don't think I'm going to be racist to an Italian 50 years ago, let alone. Yeah, no thanks. I watch Goodfellas. Yeah.
So my buddy Clark, Dr. Butt, you know Dr. Butt.
Yeah, sure.
He's a
Proctologist?
Yeah. Great guy. Huge Spurs fan.
Dancing machine.
So true. You ought to, what do you call the Irish river dance?
It
or
wasn't
whatever?
Irish. It was definitely Russian.
It was like his attempt to do river dance.
Yeah. Remember Perfect Strangers? He was Malachi.
Balky.
Oh,
Balky.
my God.
Malachi.
It's close.
It's confusing him with a Spurs draft pick.
Oh, okay. Or the guy from Children of the Corn.
Uh-oh.
But yeah,
So Clark's big thing every single year in the last like 4 or 5 is, oh, well, we won 36 games. We won 35 games. So we're really only 3 games from flipping it to being a 500 team. And it's like, well, yeah, but you do realize other teams are getting better too. And this goes to what you were saying a minute ago, Marcus. We're playing Oklahoma City. We're playing Memphis. We're in the same division as Houston. Like, if they're getting better at a quicker rate than we are, then we are drowning.
Well, I mean, the problem with striving for mediocrity, which is what a 41-win season gets you,
Yes.
is you're not shitty enough to go high in the lottery.
Correct.
And you're not good enough to compete for a final, so you're stuck in the middle to jump sports.
NBA
You're the
purgatory.
Dallas Cowboys.
NBA purgatory.
Hey,
it's the worst place to be.
So your boy Clark is like Louis Anderson in Coming to America. I'm on lettuce. Next year, they'll let me do fries, right? In about 50 years, I could be a manager. I mean, is that where the Spurs are going?
Yes.
Okay.
but Louis can't dance as good as Clark.
No, but I'd like to see him try.
Yeah.
Well, look, let's wrap up the whole Spurs thing by just saying, like, what's a good year for you guys for the Spurs next year? Like, record. For me, it's not about record. It's about being young, fun, and improving. This last year, I thought we were young, thought we were fun, and I thought we were improving.
Well, there was sparks of that, and then there's also sparks where like the old heads, the talking NBA guys, are like the Spurs are unwatchable,
Yeah, I heard a lot of
and
that.
that's
lot
not a
of that.
place you want to be.
I agree with you.
Especially with a market like San Antonio. It's a huge, small city.
Yep.
You didn't see us on all those national televised games? But what are you talking
we
about?
were like on we were
We're on C-SPAN? We were on C-SPAN. Okay, there you go.
we were like that closed network Polish TV.
Wow.
You
But,
real-
but in all fairness, even in San Antonio's heyday, to a lot of casual NBA fans, the Spurs were unwatchable even then.
Paint dry.
It wasn't
Paint-
it wasn't an exciting product for them.
I heard the expression all the time, paint dry.
Yeah, I'm just not going to worry about all that. I'm
Well,
not going
yeah.
to worry about that. I'm going to worry about winning games.
Okay.
But, like, you do have to be a little bit exciting if you are young and bad. Being young, bad, and unexciting is a bad place to be.
Yeah, you want to be the Washington Generals? Is that who
Fat,
plays
drunk,
the
and stupid
Globetrotters?
is not good, huh? Yeah.
Fat, drunk, and stupid. It's no way to go through life. That's right. I don't know. Look, I walked in here today in a bad mood. I'm not going to lie. I was fucking pissed off. I barely slept last night. I take this shit really seriously. The Procida kid, I wanted to be a Spur. He was a natural Spur. We didn't fucking get him. We chose Kennedy Chandler in the second round, who I thought was kind of interesting, and then we immediately fucking traded
Your
him.
favorite player got traded within seconds.
That's right.
Maybe the fastest player in the draft got
Yes.
traded. In
And he's cool, man. He gets to the rim. I know he's only 6 foot, but he's got like a big wingspan, and he gets to the bucket, and he was a Spur for 5 fucking seconds.
what did we trade him for?
A bucket of chicken. I don't remember. What did we get, Marcus?
a DVD to Wolf of Wall Street. I
Yeah,
think.
it's like nothing. I mean, I don't know. Well, I don't know what we got, but it wasn't much. I mean, it's not like we got a 2023 first rounder. Okay.
Wouldn't that be crazy if he turned into like a poor man's Chris Paul and was running the show? Like a right-handed Avery Johnson that could shoot.
I'm thinking, just saying, little Tony Parker.
Yeah.
Oh, it's killing me. You know, so we did show prep, Marcus, at Chris Madrid's. You've been to Chris Madrid's.
I think so.
Yeah. Our man Bob has never been to Chris Madrid's.
Well, now I have.
Well, yeah. What did you think? I haven't asked you about your experience. That's where we did our show prep. It was great.
It was good.
There's like fry stains all over my papers.
Well, I used a napkin.
You liked it
I did.
or loved it? Because
I liked it.
Because I have to be honest, you might be run out of town if you just go, it was all right.
No, I can have my opinion and not be stark raving
Not in this town.
in support of it. I mean, I am going to go back on my own.
There you go.
There you go. All right,
That's
that
a
works.
ringing
What'd you get
endorsement.
today? I didn't even notice.
The cheesy
Macho cheddar
McCheesy-
cheddar cheese.
Yeah, that.
Okay.
You can pretty much give me anything on the menu and I won't complain.
I'm same. I did the Frito burger. Come on,
Tostada burger.
Tostada burger today, and it was freaking unbelievable.
And the 8 million mini buckets of salsa.
yeah, that's how I eat it. That's how you're supposed to eat it. You're supposed to pour salsa on every single bite of your tostada burger.
Well,
But
Jeff gets
no.
all those sauces because they're free. That's why he loads up on them.
And that's why the show's called
We're
The
gonna
Jew and
loop
the
back to the
Gentile.
title. But if that's how it's supposed to be, then don't you think the containers would be bigger?
No, they want you
You
to
have
look
to
like
ask-
a real asshole
You have to ask for those, and I have before.
for a bigger container.
Yes,
They,
yeah.
they ran you
It's
out.
like a little pint.
They
Yeah.
ran you out of
Now, y'all went to
did.
the original, right? In other
Oh, of
words,
course.
they broke off. I think the families broke off in different locations, but y'all went to the original.
The original.
Okay.
The
Well,
other one is Diana's.
Okay.
Okay,
That's
which
Chris's
is
sister.
Chris's sister. Yeah, and they're actually no longer related restaurants. Okay.
Okay.
But Diana over on Zarzamora, that place is really, really, really good.
Are they related? Like they go to Thanksgiving dinner together?
Well, no, Chris died.
Chris passed
well,
away.
that's a problem.
So
I'm
his
sorry.
sister Diana
Condolences.
sold out the Chris Madrid's name, but
Okay.
started her own burger joint,
Okay.
which is equally great. Shout
is.
out to
Okay,
you,
good.
Diana. Shout out to you. Hey, you're kind of like a Texas football fan, aren't you?
Yes.
Does the Arch Manning thing like register?
Yes, it does. I mean, when you can get the #1 overall player, I mean, that's just quarterback. That's pretty exciting stuff. And I guess obviously the pedigree, the name, and
Yeah.
everything like that. He looks a little more athletic than Peyton Manning and
You
and
mean
Eli
he
Manning.
can run a 5.5?
Right. Actually, you know, it's crazy. Their dad, Archie Manning, was a lot more athletic. He was more in the
Yes.
Roger Staubach
Yes.
mode. And had he gone to a better organization, Archie Manning would be in the Hall of Fame. But
Yeah.
he went to New Orleans. It was a dump for a
But
few
he
years.
could move. You're right. And neither of his boys could.
I asked Paul Alexander one time, I said, you know, we deal in hypotheticals, sometimes the what ifs. I think that's how you compare players. If you were to put Archie Manning on the Dallas Cowboys and put Roger Staubach on the New Orleans Saints, Roger Staubach is sitting there with a couple of Pro Bowls, just like Archie, and Archie Manning's a 2-time champion, 5 Super Bowls also. They were
right.
that equal, and Archie was that good. So let's hope that, Arch isn't the one that destroys that. All his 3 previous, relatives obviously were pretty great. I think Arch Manning's going to be pretty good. I'm pretty stoked about it.
Well, I mean, I think we have a time machine installed, and I think we have a broadcast coming in. And Arch Manning pows down the field. It's a 50-yard bomb for a touchdown. That's 6 points with the extra point to come. And Texas is only losing by 42 to Alabama.
Dang. You couldn't give a 7-0 pending and then get. Oh my
It's the second quarter.
Hey, it's future history.
Well, and that's what I asked. I said, does Arch play safety also?
He better. It's so easy to knock around the Longhorns. They make themselves such easy targets over the last couple of decades, but this is actually kind of a big deal.
It's a big deal.
It is a big deal.
When the Longhorns are good, it makes college football better.
I think it does. It makes their fans almost insufferable, but
But even if Texas didn't have a football team, they'd still be insufferable.
that's absolutely true because they'd still think their football team was important.
Well, and you live in Texas, and you go to Walmart, and you see 17 dudes wearing a UT shirt, and they didn't get engineering degrees from UT.
No, I'm pretty sure they did
They
not.
didn't. Or you see 17 dudes wearing Aggie shirts, and well, maybe they do sleep with goats, but that's it. In this state, it's UT or it's A&M or fake it. If you're not a fan of either one,
Yeah, it moves the needle, okay? Like, it definitely gets me interested in the upcoming football season for them. But, like, one man does not a program change. Right. I'm just hoping that, like, maybe it does lead to a little bit of a long-term change. I mean, the last time that I can recall, and you could correct me if I'm wrong, the last time I can recall Texas really getting a guy like this was when they got Chris Sims.
Chrissy.
And Chris sucked.
Yeah.
And took a
He
job.
was 15-0 at home. No, but actually he was.
he really?
Yes, that's a crazy record. But he didn't win anywhere else, I guess. And neutral field, he wasn't that
And he
good
took
either.
Major Applewhite's job, and Major was probably the better player. And
That's Mac Brown's fault.
that was Mac's fault.
Yeah.
And Chris Sims, like, by the way, in life is like a really cool guy. It has nothing to do with that. But nobody threw it to the Gatorade container more accurately than Chris Sims. I mean, he would just drop back. Oh, everybody's covered here. Right to the sideline, out of bounds.
Wow. And Horns 247 Sports is actually
24/7.
Yeah, whatever. They are putting.
Math, also his strong suit.
I have an engineering degree, but I never built a bridge. Arch,
Build one bridge. No, it's a different joke.
they've installed Arch Manning as the #1 recruit of all time.
All time.
That's what they're-
Yeah,
Texas.
That's the name. I mean, if he was, David Ellis, he'd be, it wouldn't be there. That's partly the name.
#2, Vince Young.
Oh, there's talking all time Texas recruits.
Oh, okay, there you go.
No, all-time
Okay.
recruits.
Oh,
to
I thought you
Texas.
meant like
okay,
all time ever in
Okay.
football.
No, not all-time ever in football.
I think Earl
So-
Campbell would like a word.
Yeah, the Tyler Rose.
Yeah, I mean, I just pulled this up, so it may be wrong. It's on the internet.
Cedric Benson also, I
Yeah.
mean, was amazing as far as recruiting goes.
That was a coup.
Yeah.
That was a coup. Hey, one of the segments that we really want to do on this show as we go forward, and by the way, that's one of the great things about having this podcast is we have no clue where any episode is going to go, and I can't even believe where we are right now. But over time, I think we're going to have a lot of great guests.
I think so.
None of them famous.
Nope.
So, like today, we got Marcus Valdespino. Marcus, you're probably going to be the most famous guest we ever have on this show.
By
No.
far, right now, you are the most famous guest we've ever
had.
Yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that I do want to do on this show over time is, Richard is a member at Bushwood Country Club. And I'm a member at Oak Hills. Shout out to all my buddies out there. And there's a segment that we want to start, and it's called Carnahan Gives the Cheesemay from Bushwood.
Oh, you fucking gobshite! It Tales from the Bushwood? Is that what we're doing now?
Insert sponsor here.
Not Irish.
Yeah. Okay, so there's some really good happenings going on at Bushwood. They pulled up all the grass from the patio area going
Okay.
towards 18.
Yeah.
And they installed the AstroTurf.
Oh, that'll be hot.
But I think that there was a party and everyone was smoking and they burned it up.
No, already?
Not all of it, but
Oh, my God.
quite a bit of it. That stuff's highly flammable.
Yeah, it is.
Jimmy Walker became a member at Bushwood, and he broke a 40-year-old club record in about 3.5 weeks, I think. So that's
What did he shoot?
62, and I think he had 2 bogeys.
But didn't he play from, like, the blue tees or something?
No.
He played from the tips?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, okay. All right.
Nothing but the
Well, then it
tip.
counts.
Nothing but the tip for Jimmy.
Oak Hill's big news. So Abraham answered. Do you know Abe or who he is, Marcus?
No.
Abraham is from the Rio Grande Valley, Reynosa. He was one of those guys who, kind of typical South Texas Valley family, kind of in Mexico, kind of in the United States, back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. Pretty typical kind of Valley story. He's 31. He's a member at Oak Hills. Literally could not be a nicer guy. If I were to choose a member from the PGA Tour to represent our country club, I don't think I could find somebody to choose that I'd like more than him. He is real cool. And he's done really good in business. He's got a tequila company. He's got a clothing brand. Like he's definitely a businessman alongside of being now a top 20 player in the world, kind of late in life, late bloomer, if you will. And he's a little guy, by the way, my size.
That's why you like him.
It is definitely part of why I like him. Absolutely.
You guys can shop at Gap for Kids and trade chinos.
Wait, is he really your size? His program height's 5'7". Are you that tall?
He is not 5'7".
That's why I said program height.
On his tippy toes.
Well, I was 5'8" or 5'9". I can't remember which in
Well,
my
y'all are-
high school basketball program.
Y'all are both taller than Tom Cruise.
God, that movie was good.
It was good.
God, did you see it?
Yes, and I cannot believe it was better than the 1986 one.
But it was.
It was.
It was.
Every scene I thought was great. God, you can't go to the bathroom on this one.
It actually had a story. Oh, it was less homoerotic than the first
Less
one.
homoerotic. Okay.
Yeah.
I didn't.
You didn't like
I
like
didn't
the
find
slider
that.
pose, you know? That's
Yeah,
what you-
I
I
think
mean,
you need
who-
to. I think you need to watch it again. I think there was a lot that you missed.
Who plays volleyball in pants?
Did you notice though in the second one?
Well, they were playing that stupid football game that doesn't exist.
Yeah.
And they rolled
Oh,
their
it's
jeans up.
it's going to exist now. I predict by the end of this year there will be a competitive football league of some sort on
Two-way
ESPN.
football.
Two-way football.
Two-way football sounds like something you look up on Urban Dictionary, and it's like two guys fucking each other like in different directions.
Two girls in a cup reference.
Yes, right. Like, swear to God, they made that up for that movie.
And you can go down to Alma's Park and watch people joust. Both kinds.
Wow.
What?
Anyway,
I actually thought it was really, really good. I forgot how we even got to Tom Cruise.
How did I get here?
height. It was a height
Abraham
thing.
Answer.
Abraham
because of Abe.
Answer,
Because of Abe. So Abe announced last week that he's leaving for the Live Golf Tour. All the scuttlebutt around Bushwood, around Oak Hills, around the entire sports world is like, what would you do if it were you? And I got to be honest, I hate it. I'm never going to watch that fucking tour. Never. Not a chance.
Well, right now there's no place to watch it.
But I don't care if they get a network deal. I don't care. I'm never going to watch it.
How you described Abe though, late bloomer, 31. He's going for the money. It's not like he's been this established player and I got $100 million in the bank. Or whatever,
Correct.
And then I mean, you can kind of see his decision there. He may not be well versed in American foreign policy the last 50 years either, so I can see why he's going to get the money.
Well, I ain't mad at Abe. I ain't mad at Abe at all. You have a finite amount of time to capitalize on your on your successes and on your big name, and now's the time to strike.
I think murder is kind of a mostly widely held
Oh, that
value
crosses
for
the
all
border?
countries.
Yeah, it does. It does cross the border pretty well. No, look, I look, if it were me, I wouldn't play on that fucking tour. I just wouldn't.
So you're telling me Jeffrey Abraham Vexler.
It's Jefferson.
Okay. Good. America.
Fuck yeah.
So you get a call from the Sheik, and he says, Jeff, I like what you're doing down in San Antonio. Obviously, your pod career's fucking killing, and you don't need this, but $150 million. Come and play.
When Richard said Sheik, I pictured Cannonball Run. $1 million to the winner. And I'm looking at Jeff like, you're doing it, are you?
Well, what's awesome, if they would, the Iron Sheik's still alive because I saw like his documentary.
Oh my God, the one about him doing all the blow on the airplane?
I think he does crack.
So if the shark Greg Norman called you up and said, "Hey,
It depends a lot on where you are in your career and what you're trying to get out of it. If you are Phil Mickelson and you're already worth God knows how much, and you know that you can make $30 million a year staying in the United States, barely working, not even playing golf except for whenever you want to go fuck around on the senior tour, but you can step into broadcast booths, you can do podcasts, you can do any number of endorsements, et cetera, and still make $30 or $40 million a year. Why would you give that kind of cred to the Saudis? I would have a hard time doing it. Look, this tour ain't going to last. It can't last. You can't not have sponsors, not have network deals, and expect to be fiscally responsible and viable into the future. It just doesn't work.
I disagree with you on that one. I don't think the Live Tour needs to be financially viable at all.
They're just going to give away their money because they can?
Yep. This is, I mean,
Why?
it has been accused of sports washing. This is Saudi Arabia trying to clean up their reputation. This is no different than their interest in Formula One, their ownership of a Premier League team. And
I don't buy that
This
shit.
is sports washing.
I don't buy that shit. That's what China said by having the Olympics. It didn't do shit for China. We still know they're bad actors. It's not, and nobody's going to change their mind on Saudi Arabia simply because they make a bunch of golfers rich and have a cool tour, which is basically an exhibition.
They have the money to dump into this to see if it's successful.
They do.
The sovereign wealth fund that is backing the Live Tour, $650 billion of liquid assets that they can turn to.
I'm with
they
Bob.
have the money
that's,
to
that-
burn.
that's oil money. I'm with Bob on this.
I'm not saying that they're going to go broke. I'm just saying that eventually you're going to be throwing good money after bad.
But what Bob's saying is he doesn't think they care. They're not looking to make a profit.
Then what are they looking to do?
Make it.
Does anybody know?
It's an exhibition.
It is a glorified exhibition. It's fucking 54 holes and a shotgun start. It might as well be a goddamn member guest.
Yeah, a member guessed that Schwartzel for winning
4.8, right?
$4 million for winning, and then apparently he was on the winning team, so another $750,000.
Look, what the PGA Tour has done to react to this, and I think it's interesting, is they're going to have their own little mini series inside of the PGA Tour's regular schedule where they take the big names and the big names play for big money. Great idea.
Mm-hmm.
Great idea. They probably should have done that before Liv had this idea.
And the other thing they should have done is before they put Jay Monahan with Jim Nance and asked questions, is maybe give him some PR training, because he looked like another hostage.
No way. No way. I saw that interview and I loved it.
You don't. Come on. You've been on the
saw
journal.
that interview. I thought Jay Monahan was awesome. He said, he looked in the camera and he said, I want to ask you players, ask yourselves this. When have you ever had to apologize for playing on the PGA Tour? I'm never going to watch a live event. I don't care. I'm not going to support it. Won't do it. Don't give a shit how big the prizes are. It is antithetical.
Set up the cameras in his house.
It's though it is crazy money. You talk about local kids going to this tour.
You mean like collegiates?
Collegiates
From UT.
grandson of a Masters winner.
Of Charlie Cootie, yeah.
He was offered a couple $1 million signing bonus. The tour was going to pay for his travel to all events for 2 years. And then the purses, even if you lose, you're still making
Big
I think
money.
150 to 250 just for losing.
Yep.
I want that job.
Yeah. I can come in last place
And-
all the time.
And when he declined, they sweetened the pot by offering the same deal to his brother,
Which is awesome.
and they both turned him down.
Well, I would expect those two to, because their grandfather was a major champion on the PGA Tour. And I think they get it kind of in the larger scheme of things. And I respect. So that's what I was going to tell you, Marcus, is I don't think less of Abe Answer, but I definitely think more highly of Rory McIlroy than I used to, who is saying, forget it, under no circumstances, I ain't going.
Oh, and he's playing with a fire now. If he could walk up to Greg Norman with a red hot poker and jam it up Norman's backside, I think he would.
I would like to see that.
I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean,
For various reasons we'll get into in another podcast. But the shark, he's not the nicest fella that ever swam.
He is not.
in the PGA Ocean.
I'm loving Rory McIlroy in the last.
That's because he's Irish.
He is.
He's a good
He's-
Irish.
he's-
He's a
he's
good
one of
Irish
your own.
Gentile.
to get politically, is he Irish or is he British?
He's Irish.
He's from Northern Ireland. Is he Irish or is he British?
We don't have enough time for that.
No, we don't.
I'm going to be honest with you. I hope that the Live Tour falls flat on its face. It worries me that
Okay,
if,
that's my question. Should the PGA be worried? Or is this like Vince McMahon and the XFL? That's cute. Maybe we'll learn a few things and we'll implement.
I'll say no.
I'm going to say no as well.
I think it's all determined by how much influence the PGA can exert on other things in the golf ecosystem. Understand the PGA Tour doesn't run any of the majors.
Right.
They don't run the PGA Championship. They don't run the Open, the U.S. Open, or the Masters. If each of those majors says next year, if you're Live Golf, Masters, and PGA Championship, you're not allowed to play, and the U.S. Open and the British Open, the Open, say, yeah, you can play, but you got to go through qualifying. Oh, and by the way, World Golf Rankings, Live Golf Tour events don't count.
That's right.
Yeah.
If the PGA can exert that kind of influence and lock them out, yeah, the Live Tour will not last.
Going forward, it's going to get real interesting because are you playing golf for the money or are you playing golf for the tradition? And to me, what I love about golf and what I love about professional golf even more is that it is the biggest meritocracy of any major sport on the planet. Tennis, maybe, but it's golf, okay? You got to earn your keep every single year or you lose your card. Like, you can't just sign a big contract like you're fucking Juwan Howard and then play 2 good years and collect money for 10. Like, it just doesn't work like
Chandler Parsons?
Yeah, Chandler Parsons. There's a billion examples, right? Like, you just
Jeff Foster. Shout
We're gonna
out
start
to
naming
San
names.
Antonio.
Dean Palmer, Texas Rangers, collecting $33 million in his last 3 years, did nothing.
it's
Bobby
awesome.
Bonilla, I still think getting
Sure,
paid $1 million
That's,
a year.
He's the
Well, no,
best example. Yeah.
Yeah, well, he signed a deal where it was like a whole life insurance policy.
Yeah. And it's like an annuity,
Yeah.
right?
So every
Every July, I think it's
every July 7th is Bobby Bonilla.
I like Allen Iverson's deal because they know he's a dumbass, right? So at like 55, he gets his $40 million or something.
Really?
From
It's like
Reebok.
backloaded?
Yeah, because they know he's a dumbass. You give him $55 million, and it's going to be gone in a couple of days. The guy
That's
left.
smart.
The guy left $200,000 cars at airports.
Yeah, it's July 1, so it's next Friday, and it's $1.19 million that's paid out until 2035.
That is
Bobby Bo.
Bobby Bo.
Bobby
Day.
Bo. There are no Bobby Bows on the PGA Tour, man.
Yeah.
If you don't substantiate your existence on the tour, bro, you're gone. And the next young kid who's coming up is taking that spot. I mean, if we rewind this podcast and we started 18 months ago, you've never heard of Colin Morikawa. You've never heard of Sam Burns, right? And those two guys are definitely getting offers right now from Live Tour for buku money. And neither one of them has as yet said yes to it. But like, the point is the tour made them. It is their performance at the tour events that has made them.
Yeah, and it's really interesting where we are with professional sports today. I mean, at the highest level, the money that these players and athletes are making is generational money. This is generational wealth.
Yeah.
This isn't
Unless inflation continues the way it is, then maybe not.
My $40 million is only $20 million now.
Yeah, we make a lot of money, but
We spend a lot of money too.
Patrick Ewing.
Is it just money for these guys that are going over to this tour that are getting paid because their sponsors are dumping them? This is their only source of income now.
Well, that's a really big question, by the way, is sponsors. I'm glad you brought it up because the PGA Tour and its influence, its sphere of influence, definitely is on the people whose ads you see, Charles Schwab, et cetera, during PGA Tour events, right? So you're not going to see Charles Schwab go, oh, man, I think I'm going to go sponsor some of these live events. They're not going to do it, right? It's in direct conflict. But to every Coke there's a Pepsi, right? So maybe JP Morgan Chase goes and does it, right? Instead of Charles Schwab. It could grow, but let's see how much influence they have over the sponsors.
Well, there's the imp in me who's looking forward to possibly next year when the U.S. Open says all those exemptions that you live golf players thought you had, you no longer have them. You need to go to the little sectional qualifier in bumfuck Brownsville and play with the
Phil
eats at
Blackmar,
Denny's.
North Padre Island Golf Course.
And
You
you
can
need
only
to
play a
qualify.
pro staff, a yellow pro staff,
It's 9 holes
and you just turn around and do it again.
from a slightly different tee box.
Yeah. Wait a minute. Let me change this up.
It's not going to get included in the World Golf Ranking because it can. It's 3 rounds. It's not 72 holes.
They'll never get world golf rankings playing 54 holes. Never.
Augusta, I think Augusta, because you said this over lunch, I think Augusta may be the wild card. I think the PGA Championship, they're all out. Don't
won't
even
happen.
include them. I think the U.S. Open and the Open are going to make them qualify and remove all their exemptions.
don't you weigh the pros and cons and think do the pros outweigh the cons?
Oh,
in
I
this
think
instance?
every single one of these guys is sitting there with an abacus, doing that exact math. There's a guy that pops to mind when you say that is Ricky Fowler, right? One of the most sponsored players on this side of the pond, probably the most sponsored player on this side of the pond, just rakes from all of the deals that he has made, and he's not playing golf worth a shit over the last couple of years. I promise you that he is adding up every nickel and dime of what it would cost him if he left. and you know what I mean? Like, he's definitely doing that math. If it doesn't matter to Dustin Johnson to put his name on the claret jug,
Right.
that's fine. Then go play, the bigger version of the barbecue fucking tour.
I want my baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back, baby back.
I don't
want
think
my
you
baby
can
back.
make a Hall of Fame career out of playing on the Live Tour.
Right.
And I
There's part
say
of
that
there's
to
part
the
of the
college
pros
kids.
and there's part of the pros and cons. Am I gonna make the Hall of Fame? Do you, like Richard just said, do you care about the Hall of Fame? There's so many pros and cons. You really have to sit down with your wife or whoever and figure out, is this the best? And then I'll go somewhere else with a little bit too. Mental health, like, you see the questions they're being asked and how some of them, they look defeated and they just look like exhausted sometimes in the press conference. And then
They look like hostages. I want them to
Yes.
start blinking their eyes in Morse code.
yeah, and then
Holding
some
up a
people-
paper with the date.
Some of them may not care about being hated. I mean, they may, some people are built for that, but most people do want to be liked, and they're not going to be liked.
I think it's interesting that you just said that, because two of the guys who are absolutely, three of the guys on the PGA Tour who you would list as 1, 2, 3 most hated guys on the PGA Tour, Bryson DeChambeau, Kevin Na, Patrick Reed. They've all said, adios.
Yeah.
I'm going to go somewhere where if I'm disliked, at least I'm getting paid for it.
They don't care.
Yeah, they wouldn't. And they
don't-
shouldn't.
They're grabbing the money, knowing that this thing doesn't have legs.
That's what I think.
It's a money grab, and while we sit and say, hey, America's a business, go out and make your money, America is also the home of the second chance.
Yeah, no doubt.
So they're going to make their money. People are going to lose interest. And then the Saudis are like, we tried whatever. At the end of the day, we don't care. We're so rich.
Yep.
It shuts down. They come back and they say, hey, we're real sorry.
Yep, and they have $25 to $100 million more
Well,
than they
that'd
had
be
when they
interesting
left.
if the Saudis want their money back.
Okay, because
Or you're ascribing a lot of intelligence and intellectual capacity to guys who hit a little white ball for a living. These aren't guys that are studying astrophysics.
I dare to say that the average tour player may be able to do some mental gymnastics with like the average basketball player.
yeah, I think so. I
I don't know.
And they're also
Meh.
highly advised by smart people. Like, it's not necessarily Dustin Johnson making Dustin Johnson's own decisions. Dustin
Wayne Gretzky
Who's your daddy?
makes Dustin
Yes.
Johnson's decisions.
Then you are signing up for a tour backed by people that kill journalists,
True.
don't let women drive.
Pluses and minuses.
The flip.
There's some titty bars over there that are pretty amazing. And they're not really titty bars. They're more like slaves. Slave
Oh, my
slave whores.
It's kind of like what they did to Princess Leia
Yes,
at
exactly.
at the bar with Jabba.
Exactly. It looks probably looks a lot like that.
except slimmer and more wealthy.
Yeah.
Okay.
You, Leia or Jabba?
No Jabba.
Okay. In all seriousness about that, though, like, you're a basketball guy like I am, Marcus. This Brittany Griner thing, it sucks, dude.
Yeah.
She's maybe the best player in women's basketball, and she's in fucking jail.
Well, and so here's something that's kind of funny. My son, he's 13 years old. He's never watched a women's basketball game in the world. But he said, hey, Dad, the NBA Finals is going on. Don't you think if they wanted to get her home, they'd talk about it on the broadcast?
It's an excellent point.
Don't you think, like, if Shaq and Barkley said, hey, we need to get her home? I was like, hey, son, that's
Very
pretty-
astute of your 13-year-old son.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's got a point there. I mean, she's locked up. We can't get her out. I mean, obviously, minor infraction. Basically, what they're pissed off at is she's a big gay lesbian over there, and they don't like that. How long is it going to be before one of the guys on the Live Tour breaks his contract? Okay? and says, "Oh, forget it. Like, I'm out of here. I don't like this."
Are they
And
going to cut his hand off?
Right. Like, how are the Saudis going to handle that? I don't know.
It'd make the TV more exciting. A guy playing with one hand. You get these nice isotomer gloves. You only need one. Go get a friend. Have him break the rules.
Let's just say
We'll
when
cut his hand off.
Do they still make isotoner gloves?
Dan Marino still gets a residual.
I don't think they make them anymore, though.
They sure are nice, though.
They were.
Like,
yes, they still make isotoner gloves. They're about
do.
20 or 30 bucks a pair.
Does
like
Dan
his-
Marino own stock, or is he the sole owner?
laces out Marino.
So let's just say if he just tries to get away on the airport, I think they'll have a special holding tank for him. You know?
Yeah. I really worry about that, man. Like, it's not exactly
they're
like.
going to shoot down his private
Oh,
jet.
wow. Do you know, everyone take a guess. This is trivia time.
Okay.
Dan Marino's net worth last year.
Wait, those are two different questions.
Nah, but, I mean,
1 year or all together? Lump
no,
sum
no, his
total.
actual net worth.
500 million.
Yeah, I'd say 500 million.
350.
Wow, you guys are off by an order of magnitude. 50 million.
That's it.
He must gamble.
He likes the prostitutes.
Does
I don't
he
know.
have really big nostrils? Sinus infections all the time.
Fun, baby.
I think this live golf experiment is going to be interesting. This is not going to be the last time we talk about it on this show.
Me and Bob are gone. I know that. 20 million. I just want one.
As soon as Greg Norman gives me a call.
If you start having college graduates and Corn Ferry graduates, in May,
Jeff, I'm going to pay
And-
$10 million to be a Saudi Arabian scout. Now, you've got to go find the 20-year-old talent for Saudi Arabia.
oh my God,
And
I'm interested.
you're going to pay me $2 million. You're going to pay for my travel for the next 2 years. And even when I lose, you're still going to pay me $150,000 an event?
It's hard to say no to that.
Okay, now I got to start having a bunch of kids and getting them in golf. We need to.
For real, every time they open a book, you take a 7-iron and you hit them over the hand with it really hard.
there you go.
Yeah, and you show them how to chip with a 7-iron.
Thanks for joining us for episode 0 of The Jew and the Gentile